When I was younger, I used to think, why bother watching the news? If it's important, I'll hear about it the next day, right? Well, especially when the news is happening halfway across the world, how could it possibly affect me? Well, with all this craziness that's called 2020, where life is already turned sideways, it's about to go ballistic. A war may break out in the Asia subcontinent that may involve China, India, and Pakistan. Why you need to know about this and what it means for your supply chains, I'm going to fill you in on that. Namaste folks, my name is Ilash P. This is Food Packaging TV, where we go beyond the packaging to bring you the latest news and trends, and of course, food packaging information. In an article from Economic Times released July 4th, which was just a couple days back, headlines that CPEC, which is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, to be completed at all costs, says Imran Khan, Prime Minister of Pakistan. What's interesting about the headline alone are two things. Number one, CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and the words, at all costs. I'm going to break down what CPEC is later in the video and to give you a deeper understanding of what is it's intended for, who it benefits, and why Prime Minister Imran Khan used the term at all costs. More importantly, what could this mean for the future of global supply chains? This episode will cover a bit of history so you understand how we got to this point. What happens after this point, only God knows. If you're watching this, please take what I'm about to say with an open mind, as it's not intended to insult or hurt the sentiments of any culture, race, or creed. It's simply an overview of history from my understanding and how a probable war outcome will have a global ripple effect with the supply chains across all sectors. So here we go. Present day. I'm not sure if you're following what the current climate between India and China is, but the tensions on the Indo-China border is increasing day by day. Both armies are facing eyeball to eyeball. They're backed with infantry, tanks, armored vehicles, and air defense. It's not at all a good situation to be facing both militaries in a combat-ready mode. Defense experts have pointed rightly out that small local angry incidences can flare up the battleground. But the question is, why is China picking up the quarrel with India, knowing it can be very difficult to grab more disputed lands on the LAC, which is the line of actual control, using force? 2020 India is not the 1962 India to be humiliated, and the Indian army forces are well prepared to give a befitting answer to China. And China is also facing situations on the south and southeast, and American aircrafts and carriers are also patrolling the South China Sea. China's having a big problem ongoing with Hong Kong, plus has picked up a fight with Taiwan, Japan, Indonesia, Philippines, South Korea, and Vietnam. They are all rattled with China's expansionary policy. When China is having problems on all its borders, then why is it showing a hostile posture with India? If the conflict really breaks out, then China has more to lose than India. China has already earned a bad reputation due to COVID-19, and a war with India will isolate China internationally. This is an important note that after 1962 war till now, China has highlighted border disputes on the northeast border of India. They have raised objections about the Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, and Sikkim, but they've never picked up a border dispute on the plains of Ladakh after 1962. But they are now picking up a fight in Ladakh. Why? Before we analyze why China is picking up a fight in Ladakh, let's first understand the map and how it's changed since 1947 between India, Pakistan, and China in the Jammu and Kashmir region, or J&K. In 1947, the entire princely state of J&K was part of India. This included Jammu, Kashmir Valley, Ladakh, Gilgit, Baltistan, and Aksai Chin. These are the regions. When Pakistan attacked India in 1947, in the illegally occupied part of Kashmir, they snatched up two parts of J&K, that is, a very small portion of Kashmir Valley, and a big mass of land of Gilgit-Baltistan. India was left with Jammu, remaining parts of Kashmir Valley, Ladakh, Aksai Chin regions, etc. The area marked as Pakistan-administered Kashmir is what Pakistan forcibly occupied in 1947. Then, in 1950, China started building a road inside Aksai Chin without India's permission. They wanted to grab Tibet, and access to Tibet from China mainland is very difficult due to the mountain regions. Hence, they started an illegal occupancy of Aksai Chin to build roads to go to Tibet. This construction actively started in 1950 but was never detected by Indian military until 1957. By the time it was detected, it was too late, and Nehru ceded Siachen to China, saying the land is useless because it is cold, it's a cold desert and can't even grow a single leaf of grass. But obviously, Nehru missed the geographic importance of Siachen. He surrendered to the Chinese bullying. He thought his socialistic ideological friend, China, would stop taking Siachen, but that was not China's aim. They wanted Tibet, and that is why they occupied Siachen. Nehru realized China's real intentions when China attacked Tibet, but it was then too late. It was 1962 and India was dragged into a war with China without any military preparation. Nehru was not a firm or resolute or dynamic leader, and this fact was recorded by a number of military experts and diplomatic experts. The moment he realized the well-prepared Chinese military is getting heavy on ill-prepared Indian military, he started giving conflicting signals to the Indian military. As a result, the Indian military faced heavy human losses, and this demoralized the military. The situation was so grim that Chinese forces were about to enter Assam, and Nehru had mentally accepted to give away Assam to stop the Chinese forces. By that time, the US had sent forces to support India, and China was aware about it, and thus unilaterally declared a ceasefire before US forces could reach India. They retained the hold of Tibet and vacated the other captured parts of India, and India was defeated and humiliated by China in this war. As a result, India lost Siachen and Tibet both. After the 1962 China War, Pakistan became more closer to China. Pakistan was always fearing that one day or another, India will attack Kashmir Valley to reclaim POK, which is Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and to mitigate this risk, in 1963, Pakistan donated part of Kashmir to China. This part is marked in the map as Siachen Valley. Pakistan thought that if China is made party into the Kashmir dispute, then India cannot do anything, as India cannot challenge China. This is how China got foothold in Kashmir Valley. If you see this map, there is a very small triangular portion that is between Siachen Valley and Siachen. This is Siachen Glacier. This small portion of Siachen Glacier is separating the two Chinese illegal occupation, that is Siachen and Siachen Valley. If Siachen Glacier peaks are occupied by either China or by Pakistan, then Kashmir Valley would firmly connect with China mainland. It is strategically so important that whosoever controls this peak of Siachen Glacier, they would practically control activities happening in the mainland China area, including Siachen, Siachen Valley, and Pakistan's POK. The Karakoram Highway that connects China with Pakistan through road passed through Siachen Glacier. Karakoram Pass, which is one of the most oldest trade routes, is also in the same region. The Karakoram Highway is so close to the Siachen Glacier peaks that normal machine gun fire can block the road. Hence, it is a big threat to China and Pakistan. Siachen Glacier is a very inhabitable mountainous area. It has rugged terrain where living is not possible. This area is covered with snow, freezing temperatures less than minus 30 degrees Celsius, unpredictable weather, winter storms, and huge avalanches. Due to these reasons, no one between Pakistan, China, and India had ever claimed this region until 1984. It was practically no man's land because all these parties thought it is impossible to hold onto the occupation. This had changed in 1984 when India captured Siachen Glacier and fortified its military position. After capturing, India fought a number of battles with Pakistan Army who tried to capture it back, but they failed. Since then, Siachen Glacier is firmly controlled by the Indian Army. India has not only fortified all the mountaintop ranges in the Siachen Glacier, but even made the Dalut Beg Old Air Force Base fully operational. This base is situated 5.1 clicks above sea level, and the temperatures are below minus 30 degrees Celsius. Check out the map where the base is located to understand its strategic importance. It is located at a very strategic point to cover China-occupied Siachen Valley, Siachen, mainland China, and Pakistan-occupied POK. From this field, the Indian Air Forces can attack deep inside Pakistan and China. The only challenge is, because of the height, the IAF fighter planes have some limitations on carrying fuel and weapons, but that's a different discussion to have altogether. China had built Karakoram Highway long back to connect Pakistan with China by road. This is their old trade route, but it's a very long and treacherous route. Plus, it was not connecting to any seaports in Pakistan. China's crude oil supply from Arab countries and Africa is through oil tankers that travel from the Arabian Sea, circling Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, and then into South China Sea, and finally to China. As you can see, this route is very long and expensive to get crude oil into China. It's also expensive and time-consuming to supply Chinese goods to the western parts of Asia. Every country needs cheap oil for its economic growth. High transportation costs for oil was hampering China's economic growth plans. Hence, they came up with the Silk Routes and the One Belt, One Way policy. This plan is to connect 70 countries for the trade purposes. As part of this policy, China started the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, initiative. Under this plan, China developed the port of Gwadar in Pakistan for oil pumping, then created multiple highways inside Pakistan to link East, Central, West Pakistan all together. All these highways led to one highway into Gilgit-Baltistan. The plan is to get oil from Arab countries into tankers in the Gwadar port, transported to China using the CPEC road. The bigger plan is to create pipelines from the Gwadar port to China along the CPEC route. China has invested more than $80 billion of its own money, plus given $50 billion loan to Pakistan. This huge investment so far has not given any tangible results to China due to a variety of reasons. Hence, China is risking losing $140 billion of investment plus the loss of opportunity. On top of this, India has protested with China and Pakistan for illegally using Gilgit-Baltistan area for CPEC. This is because India claims the entire princely state of J&K, that is joined India in 1947, is legally owned by India. So India plans to reclaim this illegally occupied land from Pakistan and China. Now this is where the current problem is. China is fearing if India really reclaims Kashmir Valley, Gilgit-Baltistan from Pakistan, and reclaims Siachen Valley and Siachen from China, then it'll be a big jolt for China's CPEC plans. It will be cut off from Pakistan completely and thereby the Arab countries and African countries. This will disrupt their oil supply and goods trades route with the western part of Asia. And on top of that, if India blocks the sea route for Chinese ships in the Arabian Sea, then it'll face huge problems. It is because of this fear China is showing aggression in Ladakh. China and Pakistan feels that if India is challenged on two fronts, India will dare not reclaim POK in Gilgit-Baltistan. They both want to grab more land of India so that their CPEC road connection is not threatened. Look at the map where there is a current military conflict with China in Ladakh region. The current conflict sites are Galwan Valley, Hot Springs, and Pangong Lake. My estimates is that these hotspots are just a decoy. China and Pakistan want India to look some other way so they can achieve their goal. I strongly think the plan is something like this. Pakistan and China want to capture some more land of Ladakh, cut off Siachen Glacier, and create a rock-solid wide connection between China and Pakistan. The military plan of China and Pakistan might be as follows. Pakistan will attack Ladakh from Gilgit-Baltistan. China will attack Ladakh from Siachen. Both these forces would capture a portion of Ladakh that could be in one of three ways shown above in the depicted three colors. The aim would be to cut off the Siachen Glacier from India, thereby ending India's threat to China, Pakistan, and the CPEC from their peaks of Siachen Glacier. Grabbing the land around Siachen Glacier would join Pakistan with China with a solid mass of land, and then India cannot threaten Pakistan to reclaim POK and Gilgit-Baltistan. This is the reason why Pakistan has moved its infantry into Gilgit-Baltistan region instead of POK. Hence, PM Imran Khan's at all costs rings true, and this is one of the reasons why China is not ready to take back its forces from their three hotspots. China may agree on a negotiation table to take back its forces from their three hotspots, but in reality, it'll never pull back. China is known for such treacherous behavior and should never be trusted. They have played the same game of negotiations with India in 1962. This time too, they will attack India when both Pakistan and China are ready to attack. Till then, China will continue to come to the negotiating table with a statement for peace. India must be prepared to fight a big bloody war with China and Pakistan simultaneously. China may open another front in the northeast region of India to stretch India's fighting forces. Pakistan may open another front on India's western border to further the stretch of Indian forces. And Pakistan may also try to infiltrate terrorists in Kashmir Valley and start internal disturbances. The war may start by August and may take a very dirty turn. And as they say, you can decide when to start the war. You can't decide when to stop. Hence, the end date is not known. Indians must be prepared, and so must any of us that are currently relying on any of these countries for goods. This is high time to seek out your North American partnerships and solidify them today to avoid the whiplash of this probable all-out war. We'd love to hear your feedback on this video and what you think is going to happen with the tensions building in the Asian subcontinent area. And that is it for this week's episode of Food Packaging TV. Next week, we're going to have our first interview with Troy Ruchensky, Vice President in Sales of Marketing at Seaside Paper. We'll see you next week. Be safe, my friends.